Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Triple Option with Coy, Mr. 411. What's going on, Coy?
What's going on, brother?
Man, it's wonderful, man. It's great to see another
Coy,
great,
Mr. 411. What's going on, Coy?
great to see another day. And as you know,
Alexa, turn sitting room on.
oh, there it is. Great to see another day and to see like you got things rolling. Hey, man, good to see your face there, man.
What's up, brother?
Yeah, man, rocking the beard. I see it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So yeah, we're here. We welcome everybody to the show. And one of our top analysts right here, Coy, is in the building, live in effect. And it's good to have you, man. And we're going to talk about the Army Navy game. We'll talk about the Heisman Trophy presentation, and we'll tap into a couple of bowl games. Not deep into it, but just maybe get our analyst thoughts on um, what he's looking forward to for the upcoming bowl season. So that's what we have. So buckle up, get ready, because here we go. Yes, welcome to Triple Option. That intro is brought to you by Jones Music Company LLC. Jones Music Company LLC. Terrence Jones, we appreciate the track. We
Shout outs to Keaton.
absolutely. We're on Blackjack TV simulcast. We appreciate the Jack
Shout outs Blackjack.
indeed. All right. Well, Corey, we'll start off with the game Army Navy. All right, this is a long time rivalry, um, and we definitely salute their services to our country and everything, keeping us safe. And on the gridiron, this is a major rivalry. It goes way back, and this was an excellent game, close game, overtime victory um, for Army. And Corey, just give us your thoughts on one on the game, and then and what you think about the history between Army and Navy.
Me personally, yes, there we always think about the rivalries, but this particular rivalry is probably one of the biggest rivalries of all time. And salutes to those young men because they sacrifice a lot for us. And being someone that actually visited and actually been to those campuses, this game gives a different energy that most people would not even imagine, being that most people tend to think Army and Navy teams are not quite the big boys, but it's a very dope game. And it gives, it looks like the Army has bragging rights for over the next year. So it's just dope. You have to watch it if you, and even when you watch it on TV, it's a lot, and in person, it's even bigger. So I always like the Navy game because it's like one of the premier college games you can ever see. Actually, premier football games you can ever see in person or visit or on TV.
Very good. Yeah. Yeah, I like it too, man. I like the energy between the two programs, the fans. It's just so much pride involved with the game, and the pride is just not just about what's happening on the field, but off the field. And the game is also like a throwback style of football too. A
Hmm.
lot of running, defense and special teams.
A lot of spread option teams,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to see really good disciplined football teams.
Yep.
That's why when you see some of these Power Five teams and they slip up against the Navy or Army, you try to figure out what happens. Is sometimes discipline can beat talent.
Yeah. And if you're going to go just a tad bit.
Oh, I think we lost Mr. 411. So he'll be back in a second. But I think what he was going to say is if you want to go deeper into it, and
Yep.
over the last so many years, this game is deeper because our country has been in some kind of conflict over the last 20 plus years. So you got to remember these young men shortly after these seniors, shortly after they graduate in the next 6 months to a year, they're off on some battlefield on some foreign land, or they're directly supporting some conflict. So that's why you got to give them all that respect.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And as a linebacker, man, how tough was it is it to go up against that type of offense?
Be well, those type of offenses is basically when you play against those, this it's all about assignment defense. You think you can say okay, because usually it's all about whatever your coach decide on the read. Depending on your defense front and your and the way what defense you're running, everybody has assignment, particularly the linemen, the linebackers, and your safeties and whoever's on the edge. Because all it takes is you come down the line, quarterback has the ball, and an end instead of taking a dive, he steps out, opens up for a quarterback, dive, boom, and you add 30 yards because somebody missed their assignment. Or better yet, a linebacker jumping a dive when he should be taking the quarterback, vice versa, or a corner coming in, biting on the quarterback, pitch out. It becomes everybody has to do that. It's almost like you have to do a lot of sacrificing instead of making the big play. You can see the big play, but if you don't sacrifice, the big play won't be made by the guy next to you.
And that sounds like a microcosm of what the army you have to do in the army, do your job, sacrifice, trust. I mean, is you can just kind of relate it to life as well. So yeah,
Hmm.
creates discipline on either the Army and Navy guys are disciplined, but and it makes you know, the other program as a football player, you have to be disciplined. So yeah, that's excellent insight there, Coy, on that. Also, man, they were looking pretty sharp too. Look at the uniforms here, Army
Yeah.
uniform, and we'll pull up Navies too in a minute. Once the producers get a hold of it, they'll pull up Navy. There it is. All right, and there's Navy as well. So both teams were looking really good on the court on the field as well.
Yeah, I like that. The Army one's dope. The Army
Yeah,
one's dope. But you
yeah,
got, I mean, they even though they're traditional teams, they got to appeal to some of them young men that are they trying to get in there. So
right.
it's a
Yeah,
nice look to see them expand their jersey situation a little bit.
right, right. Okay. Well, good, man. That was again that game right there. You always want to take a look at it. If you haven't seen, if you didn't get to see the game, don't just watch the highlights. Wait till the opportunity is there for you to watch the re-air. A lot of times on the cable network, CBS brands of their networks, they'll re-air the game. Take a
Hmm.
look at it and take in that energy, um,
Exactly.
and that passion that's behind that matchup. Um, just watch it whenever you get time, and it'll probably be on YouTube as well in the near future. So
Hmm.
you have your opportunities to look at it if you had other things going on yesterday. But we didn't want to leave that game out because this is triple option, this is college football, and we want to make sure that we get it in where we can get it in. There's also some action in the FCS level. There's teams still battling it out in the FCS. I did watch North Dakota State Friday night. They did advance as well. So
The
that,
Jackrabbits.
yeah. Oh yeah, and South Dakota, right?
I'm
South Dakota
sorry, yes,
State.
out of yeah, the Jackrabbits played. They played the Holy Cross yesterday. I was watching a piece of that game.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. Shout out to Sanford over there in Alabama. They advanced pretty far this year. Job well done. But yeah, it looks like some of the powers are going to make it. And it looks like coach from Sacramento State, I think he took the head coaching job over at Stanford as well. So
Hmm.
there's some FCS news for you as well. Um, but before we go into the Heisman talk, Corey, we're going to go ahead and give a shout out. And this individual is going to be on in the next hour when we have our Deion Sanders roundtable. Lamont Thomas. I want to give a shout out to Lamont Thomas, Ash and Smoke Cigars. I want to give a shout out to him. And Corey, I think you do you smoke a cigar too?
I have in my past.
Okay,
I,
all
I
right.
I indulge from time to time.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. And there's also an excellent way to these makes excellent gifts too as well. I have some people in my circle in my local area that they take in a cigar or two, and So I might even try to look into trying to help them out with this. But check out Action
Mhm.
Smoke Cigars, 518-61 Cigar. That's 518-61 Cigar, 518-61 Cigar, 518-61 Cigar. Infused cigars, gift sets, cigar box purses, accessories, and more. Lamont E. Thomas. Check him out. That's 518-61 Cigar. AshenSmokeCigars.com, AshenSmokeCigars@gmail.com. You see everything on the screen. Uh, get out and support Ash and Smoke Cigars. All right, we're gonna get into the Heisman talk, Corey. USC was the winner. The
Yeah,
Tell me
yeah.
how you feel about that.
That was the only choice they had out of this year's crop. I hated that the trophy has become a quarterback award, but out of the quarterbacks and out of their stats this year, I have no problem with Caleb winning it. So
Yep, and there it is, Caleb Williams, this year's winner for 2022. And in his speech, he mentioned that he may be receiving the Heisman. I'm paraphrasing, but the other gentlemen that were contenders for the award are in the college football playoff. Um,
hmm
you was a former great collegiate athlete, and you played college football, so you had an opportunity to win a Heisman. Um,
I wouldn't say that.
technically, you did. You had a
Okay.
percentage of a chance. Um,
If that's what you want to call it. Okay.
would you rather win a Heisman or participate in a bowl game playoff or something like that?
I want rings. Always want rings.
All right.
Always want rings.
All right. Well, then that's probably the insight on how Williams feels about
hmm
this. Even though he'll go down in history, he's in there now.
Let me
As
tell you something. Georgia won their first national championship in 30 years last year, right?
sure did.
The third string tackle got a ring. And that tackle being on that team will never have to buy his own drink in Athens, Georgia again in his life. Okay, it's nice. Well, I mean, yes, we remember the Heisman's, but do we really remember them? But we do remember national championship teams. The minute you get that championship team, automatically you start going into the list of all-time great teams, and that's how you're measured. Yeah, it's exciting. So and so, who won the Heisman 3 years ago, Tom?
I don't know. We have to Google it.
See, that's my point. You see what I'm saying? Who won it last year? Got to think hard, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, my point. But you can remember almost the last six national championship teams because the Heisman, yes, that's an individual accomplishment, but it's a team sport. Your legacy goes off of your winning and losing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just the way it goes. It's like, well, I guess. I mean, I'll take the award because it means a lot. But if I had a choice, I'd rather win me a national championship. Now, that's just one man's opinion.
Yeah, and then that's what we want to get. And you have the insight, the background, everything. So we want to get that insight from somebody who's actually been out there at the collegiate level on the gridiron. And it just kind of goes back to kind of paints the picture that it is a sport, it's a team sport, and ultimately you want to win, and winning pretty much puts you at the top. And just like when we have debates of who's the greatest of this or that, what do we
hmm
do? What do we do? We talk about that in sports. We talk about who won, and so winning means a lot there. So we definitely appreciate that insight there. Corey, we need to jump into that it's almost time for the bowl games, and of course we're gonna have other episodes where we get into it and break down the matchups, etc. But just as an intro for our listeners this morning, um, some of the bowl games. What are you looking forward to uh,
Uh, with
for
me,
these games? And give us an idea of what these games are really about.
what they're about now. paycheck for colleges. But me personally, what I'm curious to
Can you
see,
hear me, Corey?
yes, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Okay. One of us is out. So what I'm curious to see is how many of these players will not be playing in the bowl games and would not be would actually focus on whether or not they're actually going to the draft. That's going to be the curiosity. Like, mm. And for instance, you got Bryce Young and you got Will Anderson, Alabama. How much will they actually decide to play versus actually going going and playing with the teams for the bowl? Because at this point, they're not playing for no longer playing for a national championship. And what's more important? Some people believe that you ride with your team, and then on the other aspect is whether or not you prefer to work on your future endeavors and your career. So that's going to be pretty much the one thing I'm looking at. Bowl season used to be like the highlight of college football season. Who and what teams you're going to go to, what bowl your team's going to go to. But over the last few years, because of the amount of bowls and the fact that you really don't, you can have almost a borderline, just a winning record gets you into a bowl. It's not the excitement's gone. And me personally believes the actual playoffs, the side effect of the playoffs actually lowered the value of the bowls to a lot of fans. But I will say this: if your team's going to a bowl and you support that team, it is a big thing for those schools. And what excites me a lot of time is the small teams that actually get to go to the bowls. Like you got a UAB, you got I'm just running through schools like UAB, Rice, SMU, North Texas, and boys North Texas is going. Liberty, South Alabama, the tools that you really Georgia Southern's actually going to play Buffalo in the bowl. Those are the ones that are actually pretty cool to me because these teams historically will not anytime soon play for the big game, but these bowls are a highlight of teams of these players and these young men working hard all year, and they actually get to play that one last game to close out a season. Who else is Middle Tennessee's going to a bowl? Oh, the Carolina matchup, Case Coastal Carolina, East Carolina. What's another one that's kind of one of the small teams getting it? It's more for the smaller team the perennial powers. It's a letdown for them. Tennessee and Clemson. That's going to be actually a pretty good game. Just depends. It's one of those situations. Who's leaving? Who's going to play?
Yeah.
Alabama, Kansas State. That's not really a great matchup, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
LSU, Purdue. Not really a great matchup. Uh, Rose Bowl always. Now Rose Bowl is different than any other bowl because it doesn't matter who plays in the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl is the Rose Bowl. So Penn State and Utah's in the Rose Bowl. It's still going to sell out, and it's still going to be the Rose Bowl. It's the granddaddy of them all. It makes it all. That's why even the Rose Bowl says, "Screw your playoffs. We'll do our bowl like we want to."
They could do that.
Yes, they can do that.
Yeah.
It's about our roses and our parade. I don't care who y'all put in there. Y'all can put. Troy State's going to a bowl this year.
Yeah. It's great for the program.
Yeah, it's great for the program and it's an experience. The kids get their swag bags. Like I said, it's really cool for some of the lesser, well, I don't want to call them some of the non-power five teams
Mm-hmm.
to get in these bowl games. And
But yeah.
our playoffs is set: Georgia at Ohio State and TCU versus Michigan. That's going to be so early prediction: Georgia versus one versus two.
Yeah,
And that's only because I'm one of those people that doesn't necessarily believe in TCU, but I could be wrong.
yeah. Well, we definitely see, and we'll get more into the whys of those things. But we love early predictions, man. We love to get people thinking, and so, man, that
I've
that
been
pretty that
I've
pretty
been
much
pretty
covers
good
it,
this
man.
year. I've been pretty good this year. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, should be, man.
And December the 17th, Jackson State versus North Carolina State, North Carolina Central with
Yeah,
no Dion. That's going to be a interesting game.
yeah. The Celebration Bowl,
Mm,
absolutely. That's a national championship game. For those who don't know, that is a national championship game. It is a historical Black college university national championship. It's it's the ultimate game for the bragging rights of who's the best uh, Black school in the country. And so last year, South Carolina State defeated Jackson State. So Jackson State still has some work to do, um, to get that title. And North Carolina Central, from what I understand, they have the Media Center Athletic Conference offensive and defensive player of the year, their quarterback and their linebacker. And Jackson State has the SWAC, Southwest Athletic Conference offense and defensive player of the year, their quarterback and linebacker. So there's some symmetry here, and we'll see how it all goes on the field and see how this plays out because there's a lot of things in the backdrop, in especially in the SWAC conference right now. Coming up in about 26 minutes, Corey and I will be back on the network. We'll have a couple other gentlemen on board with us as we talk about the impact of Deion Sanders um, leaving Jackson State, heading to the University of Colorado. So we'll talk about that in about 26 minutes or so. So be ready to lock in for that. Hit the like button, please, to subscribe, notifications, share with your friends and your family. All that does is help us, and it actually doesn't cost anything to do that. So we definitely appreciate those who've already done it, and we appreciate those who will. All right, Corey. Any closing remarks before we get out of here?
I
And
was actually what I was doing is actually looking for finalists, looking at the other awards because we all talk about the Heisman, but
yeah.
I guess the others haven't came out. I was looking
Oh,
for.
well, yeah. I'll tell you what. We can let's see what the producers can get up there, and I think there's some things that might be available to break down some other award winners. Just give us, let's say, let's give them a couple seconds here. Might be able to get it done. There you go, right there, Corey.
There we go. That's what I was looking for.
You ask, you shall receive, brother.
I appreciate it. So he did get Player of the Year and Heisman. That was dope.
Anything stands out here?
Mm. Will
I see,
Anderson got National Defensive Player of the Year, which was predictable. Let me see.
and I can't wait for Will Anderson to become a Seattle Seahawk. By the way, I thought the
Oh,
Seahawks.
oh my
I thought
God.
my Seahawks. I thought we would lose a lot of games and then be able to draft them. But now it looks like we can even make the playoffs and still draft them thanks to the different Broncos and their record.
Hmm. And y'all actually have a quarterback.
Yes. So Will Anderson, welcome to Seattle.
Hmm. I would. Well, you know what stands out, Tom?
What's that?
One of the four teams in the playoffs only got one player listed, and
Why?
that's the best. Think about it. I'm sorry. No, I take it back. TCU ran away with it.
Yeah, TCU's on there. Yeah, they had the coach of the year, assistant coach of the year, um,
Best
best
quarterback.
best quarterback, and what else is on there? Running back or the DB? I'm sorry,
DB,
defensive back.
Jim Thorpe.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of award winners. No, NC State, North Carolina State. Early in the season they start out, with a lot of hype. You know,
Hmm.
but it's good to see that they have a player on this board as well.
I did want. I did. I actually wanted to see. I did want to see Mr. Sanders make a trip to New York, but maybe
Oh,
next time. Maybe
it's,
on next year. And next year, technically, Sador has the opportunity. And if he's in my opinion, if he's there next year, it shows you how big of a travesty that he wasn't there this year.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that. And some of that may even spill over to our next, conversation in at 10:30. But yes, and ladies and gentlemen, Corey's referring to Shador Sanders, the uh, quarterback for Jackson State University, the son of head coach uh, Deion Sanders, and that there was a push by Coach Sanders throughout the season that his son should be in the Heisman conversation. Statistically, he was there, and we do remember the years when Steve Aaron McNair was in the Heisman talk, and I think he should have won it. I mean,
I
if you can
think, but
remember back, how did you feel
he
about
came
that?
he came in fourth or third, right?
I believe it was third, going off the top of my head. We'll
I'm trying
definitely
to
share it
remember.
on the YouTube page.
I gotta remember who won it that year.
Um, Actually, look at this symmetry. I believe it was the running back from Colorado.
Was it Raheem Salam?
Yeah. So look at that symmetry. But yes,
I wonder who had the better pro career.
we we'll take a wild guess. I'm gonna go with Eric there. But yes,
Yes. And the question was, it was 1994. There we go.
yeah.
Yeah, it was. There we go. Kajada Carter and
Mm-hmm.
Raheem Salam actually was were ahead of him,
Yeah.
and Raheem Salam had a 400 first place votes, 100 and okay 400 first place votes, 229 second place votes, and 85 votes for third place. McNair had 111 first place votes, 85 second place votes, and 152 third place votes. Oh,
Wow.
here's the top nine that they had. Well, tell us do the top. Here's some names. Raheem Salam won. Kajana Carter was number two. Great pro
Mm-hmm.
career there. I think he actually he got hurt, so we can't give him a hard time. But it was two running backs and a quarterback. So Steve McNair was third.
Mm-hmm.
Kerry Collins at Penn State was number four. Jay Barker from Alabama was number six. I'm sorry, five. Warren Sapp was number five. Ed
Mm-hmm.
Zaire, Lawrence Phillips, Napoleon Kaufman, and then Zach Wager from Nebraska,
Oh
offensive
yeah,
line.
that's a bad blast from the past.
Yeah, so out of those players, you had Steve McNair, Warren Sapp, and wow, Kerry Collins would say the only three of those top nine that actually had a somewhat legitimate impact on the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay. Oh yeah, that's some good throwback
and
information there, man.
Napoleon Kaufman did have a career, but it wasn't, you know,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was an interesting race there, but it's kind of ironic that the University of Colorado representative won that Heisman uh,
Hmm.
over the HBCU quarterback. But yeah, so uh, that ties into what we're going to get into later on here today, this morning. But man, that's really what we have for today. I think that's good information, and even though it was kind of a light week in the college scene, there was still plenty that we could share with everybody, and that's what we do. Corey, I definitely appreciate you getting up early and getting after it, if you will, and
No problem.
bringing in the knowledge, brother. So appreciate that.
No problem.
All right. We thank everybody who tuned in to watch this morning. Those who are going to watch this again on the replay, all you have to do is go to YouTube, check it out, type in 411 space sports world on YouTube, hit the like, the subscribe, the notification bell, and don't forget to share. And again, hit that thumbs up as well. That helps us even more. So for Corey, I'm Mr. 411. We thank everybody for watching this morning. Get ready at 10:30 to see us again. Have a great morning.
Peace.
All right. Triple option out.